Better than that, watch this. Freddie is ready and Debbie is ready. Debbie Weller is going to be our guest today, and I want to just go over a number of things and get this kicked off because we always have those that are straggling in here. So while they're doing that, but anyway, I'm looking at Emilio Lopez, and he has empowerment next to his name, but yet his video is off. So Emilio, I want you either to show your video or do away with that word empowerment. There you go. Okay, I'm empowered now. I'm empowered. Look at him. He's on, where is he, on a boat? Where are you?
Heading to an appointment right now.
Oh, it looked like a boat up the top to the way your camera's pointed. I said, man, this guy's stylish. Why do you have your camera on as good looking as this guy is? Who are you, a guest or are you a member of the team?
I'm a member of the team. I'm here every morning.
Fantastic. Well, good. See, now how many of you are empowered now with Emilio with his camera on? Anybody? Are you more empowered? Good looking guy. By the way, that tie, buddy, let me tell you something. I am getting so much flack from my younger people when I say, guys, you ought to dress it up a little bit. There's a book many years ago called Dress for Success. And they go, Fred, this is the 2023, and they're running around in Florida clothes. Yeah, I had someone I was talking to the other day in shorts. I mean, it was 10 o'clock. They're out. I said, what if I had $1 million call right now I wanted to give you? So, hey, man, I compliment you. Looking sharp. How many of you empowered by Emilio turning his camera on? All right. Fantastic. All right, cool. All right, let's see how many more turned their camera on. Let's see, just quickly. All right, I think a few more. Good, cool. Fantastic. That helps. But Emilio, I like that. Empower Group. That's what I see. Okay. Who's the Empower Group? Is that your group?
That's my group, yes.
I llove it. I love the name, man. Great. Well, you all are going to be empowered more today than you can imagine with Debbie Weller. Debbie Weller. I'm just so, Debbie, I just have to tell you, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I know you think I've done a lot for you, but you've done a whole lot more for me. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. That's not blowing smoke, but I'm going to show you a few things before we get started. First of all, for those of you who did not see, here, let me pull this up. As soon as I get this here, this is,
Hey there, it's Debbie Weller with the Weller team in eXp Realty. Come on in.
Anyway, that was her promo. And the $150 million lady, right? I don't know how many of you used to, I don't know, maybe your grandparents told you about it, but there used to be a movie called The $10 Million Man, a little weekly show, The $10 Million Man. Well, she's the $150 million lady. One of the things that is the reason I love having guests like Debbie on is because it gets real. It gets real. Now you'll notice yesterday, and this is, Jessica, how many of you were on for her social media call? Unbelievable, right? And you notice there's 110 people on that call. It reached a max of 110. Now, why is this call only 50? And it'll get up to 60 maybe? Because a lot of times everyone's looking for secret sauce. Well, I'm not taking away from Jessica's magnetic personality and everything else and all the other stuff, but social media today is a buzzword to a lot of people going, oh, that's what I need, a secret sauce. But the real estate business, you're going to hear from Debbie Weller firsthand. The real estate business is a practice of what I just posted on Mind Body Mastermind. By the way, if you're not a member of my Mind Body Mastermind on Facebook, there it is there, Facebook Mind Body Mastermind, Fred DeFalco. So let me just play this here for you. One sec. I want to play this.
That darn sunrise was supposed to be here.
Here.
That darn sunrise was supposed to be here 15 minutes ago. What's going on? This morning reminds me of our lives. So many times we just curse the dark clouds in our life. We struggle against them. We try to juggle and to try to remove clouds. Don't remove the clouds. Focus on the light. Focus on the brightness. Focus on truth. The law is in your favor. Divine intelligence and divine integrity proves all the time that the light is more powerful than darkness. Keep the faith. Keep moving. Show up. Ignore the dark clouds. Ignore them. The light will break through. Just keep looking further and further above, and you'll see it. It's there. It's in your favor. Don't give up. Keep showing up. Don't give up. Keep showing up. The dark clouds will disappear. It's in your favor. As promised, there it is. There it is. When you see dark clouds, I want you to see the name fear written all over them. When you start looking for that light, I want you to see love written all over it, folks. There's only fear and there's only love. You choose today. There's fear or there's faith. What's it going to be? Just look at the light. Look at that. It's in your favor. Keep going. Wow. That is our lives. That's the story of our lives. Right there. Love always wins. Faith always wins. Light is stronger than those damn dark clouds.
So anyway, you know, so many times we have so lack of a faith in ourselves. And this is all about the, last about 3 weeks ago, we did the battles of the bees and overcoming the battles of the bees that are in our lives and then the burnout that it brings. Right. So, Debbie and I are going to be talking about this in a long-term career. By the way, the Real Estate Resource Center I'm only able to do a lot of the things I do because of my partners here. They support me. They support the Real Estate Resource Center. If you don't have a mortgage partner, I encourage you, smartmortgage.com, MTGE, Smart MTGE. They are the fastest. Their private money equity loans are phenomenal all over the country. They're in Florida with the normal loans here. So anyway, I encourage you if you don't have a mortgage partner, and I really thank them. I don't know if they're on the call. Sometimes they are, but I really thank them for sponsoring the Real Estate Resource Center to make possible a lot of what I do. So anyway, let me do this. Let me, and then we had the thing on circumstances, so this is all about having faith in yourself, So let me stop the share here. And we're going to have Debbie come on. Debbie, where are you?
I am right here.
There she is. Look at that. Look. Does she not have the most perfect life in all the world, a perfect career, never any issues in her life, never any issues in her career, right, Deb?
Oh, absolutely.
Silver spoon. You were born with the silver spoon. Tell them all about it. So
you have to let me know where to begin.
Anyway, 17 years, right? 16 years in the business?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm very happy to be here with everybody this morning, and good morning to everyone. And I've been in real estate full-time now I started in 2005. I got my license and I went full-time in 2006. So it's been, I guess that's 17, 18 years working on.
Yep. And one of the things that us getting to know each other, you were talking about all your career, all the personal development stuff that you've been through, you tell us something about all your you came from NASCAR. You were with NASCAR, right?
I was, yeah. I grew up in Michigan, moved to Florida to get away from the cold, and came here to Daytona Beach. I went to hospitality classes, worked in hotels for 5 years, got in with NASCAR, was there for 10 years, I had 14 job positions actually in 9.5 years while I was there. Met somebody in real estate, was out looking at a home or looking for a home at the time. And I've always really enjoyed watching HGTV and all that stuff. Was sort of bored where I was and I ended up jumping and went full time because I went part-time first and realized this is not a business that you can do on a part-time basis. You really need to, this is your business. It's your career. You've got to run it like a business. And so I just turned in the walked away from the 6-figure job, turned in all my benefits, turned in the company car, and jumped full-time in 2006. And if anyone remembers 2006 or was in this business, then that was a really hard time to get in. I was watching many agents that I highly respected in my market losing their home, short selling their homes and losing their cars, and people that were doing really well that you saw in the paper and the ads back then, and print ads were a real big deal, and the names that were out there. So, and I just took that hard work ethic that I had from everything I've done before and applied it to this business, and actually did really well and got to where I was outselling some of the top agents within a few years.
Yep. Now, Deb, a lot of people will look at you and say, well, see, she came out of that background. What did you do for NASCAR? What did you do for them?
I was in sales and marketing. I had a lot of different positions, but my last position was director of sales and marketing partnerships at Daytona International Speedway. So it was more on the track side, not necessarily the NASCAR sanctioning body side.
Right. So a lot of people look and say, yeah, well, see, she had sales and marketing and, very, very intelligent, very attractive, sound like she was on the ball. That's how she could walk away from that kind of career. I don't know if I can do that. But yet you've met, and so have I all these years. You meet people like George Philbeck. He came out of a restaurant industry. You meet people like myself. I was a garbage man when I was 18 years old. I mean, you meet so there's no magic sauce. I mean, right?
No, I think it's hard work. I mean, I came from hospitality, hotel waitressing, working front desk at hotels, and I think those are really strong, because customer service and just, having a personality and getting out and meeting people and caring about people is what's going to make you successful in this business. And then, I had a 2-year degree. I had an AA degree from Daytona Beach Community College. I mean, I never finished and got my bachelor's, but getting it at NASCAR, I started a $6.50 job taking tickets and stamping hands when they opened Daytona USA. But with that work ethic and learning and just being a sponge and really wanting to learn and show up and do the work, I was recognized for that. And I would do whatever it took. Like I worked catering. I was a bartender for them. Whatever it was. And then I just was able to be in the right place at the right time. It's the people you meet. It's how hard you work. And, I was really surprised where I got, but very proud of where I got. And then you just take that work ethic and you apply it. Like if you're going to be a janitor, you're the best janitor you can be, and doors will open. And I remember Frank McKinney, was on last week, and I enjoyed meeting him down at the event where I met you. And, I remember his story where he went and he just jumped in and was a tennis pro, and just to meet people and be around the right people. So anyways.
And you can't do that hiding in your house or hiding in an office. You got to get out. One of the things that I try to get agents to focus on, especially new in a career, and we have a mixture of people on this call, very, very successful people. Alan has his camera on there, and Alan's, 17 million, went from 7 million to 17 million, came from Keller Williams, just a great business. And what I always emphasize is quit trying to sell, especially new people coming in. They were anxious to get going instead of building a foundation, because this is all about building a business, right? Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you have a business, you have your sales, you have rental properties, right? You have Airbnb.
We have a couple of, when I got into real estate, everybody talks about, like, that was 2005. And everyone's like, well, you're in real estate, you need to invest in real estate. So back then we did, my brother and I went together and bought a couple of rental properties, and I've had those. And we just are in the process of converting one to an Airbnb. And I'm working with a property management company to do that, because I think there's a big opportunity there. And I want to be the one that's experienced it and understands how it works. And so if I can have success with that and understand it, then I can help buyers find those right properties and then put them with that property management company or somebody.
Right. So that for all the people on the call that just starting and it seems like, oh, will this ever end? Remember Christian Rockwell that was on 6 or 7 or 8 weeks ago, 42 deals his first year, how his first 3 months, he did deals, and all 3 of them or 4 of them fell through his first 3 months, and they started calling him the fall through king and stuff. So tell us about your first year. For those that are on that are new and struggling, maybe tell us about your first year in the business.
Well, I think, the biggest thing, and I, Steve, even still tell a lot of people today, because, our industry's changed since I got into real estate so long ago. I mean, social media, all of these things with this online marketing was not really existing or much of a big deal. We had realtor.com and a few things, and you could spend some money there, but it was all just kind of basics. And I think right now, even back to basics, it's all about relationships and showing value to people and showing people you care. And so not being a secret agent. So we all know people who know people, and just getting out there. Like my first year, my brother had a pool business, and he, did manual billing. So I said, hey, listen, let me create a newsletter and I'll stuff your bills for you and pay for your postage. And so I created a newsletter every month, and I put it in he had 70 customers. And so he was personable and talked to them, and they started talking to him about the newsletters and real estate. And then I got business through that. And I would send a letter to everybody that I knew with just, here's what I've done. Here's where I am this year. I've gone into real estate. This is what's happened. And just trying to stay in touch, and then start showing people that you're actually selling. Because when you get into real estate, and me coming from NASCAR and a business background, and, I felt pretty confident in that. But when people, I was hurt by the people that didn't work with me when I was new, because I took it personally. And if you really turn the tables around and look, this is the biggest investment of most people's lives. And so if I was selling my home and somebody was a friend and got their license and was a new agent, and I was listing my home, I would be maybe questioning whether I wanted, I want somebody that has experience and all of that stuff. So I found that to be a little bit hard in my first couple of years. So I just really found some successful agents in my office, and they took me under their wing, and I shadowed them, and I did everything for free. Like I wasn't looking to get paid. I wasn't looking for anything. I just wanted to be around successful people, and they would take me to listing appointments. I would sit in a little cubby hole through the hole and just listen to them. And they did 15 million that year, back in 05, 06. So I just felt, and then I got their scraps, and they gave me crap. Like crap people, right? And I would run them around and open, but you get the experience. Those first few times you're out, it's uncomfortable, it's awkward. Opening a lockbox, getting stuck, not being able to get into a lockbox, knowing how, just all those basic things that you fumble through. So it was good that I had those people. And then I actually sold a $400,000 condo, which was exciting at the time. So, but I think it was just surrounding myself with the people, trying to stay in touch. And back then we had floor time. So I worked floor and open houses. I think getting out and sitting at open houses and meeting people, that's just a really good way to get started.
So your first year, you said crap, you hand you a lot of crap. So your first year, like Christian's first 3 months, he did 3 deals, but they all fell through his first 3 months, but then he ended up with 42, because one of the things he says he did, he did my business plan, which you and I have been working on. He showed up at every one of these meetings. We don't have the offices anymore where you can peek through and hear people through that, but we have all these Zoom calls, and look, 69 people, there should be 200 people, to just sit and hang out with someone doing the $150 million woman, they hang out with you for 45 minutes is a real, it's a shame they're not here. But for all those who are here, I compliment you, because let's hear about your crap, your first year, give us the first 3 months. Like Christian said, he was the fall through king. What were you the first 3 months?
That's a long time ago. I don't have the best memory for details, but but I think and listen, back then the market was different. And I remember my broker at the time when I started, and what he said to me, because I had the opportunity, I had a few top producing agents, invite me to talk to them and come on their teams. And he said to me, you have a great sphere of influence. You know a lot of people, you've got a business background. I would stay on your own and just build your business. And he said, you will reap the rewards of your efforts if in your 3rd year is when you're really going to see the impact of everything you're doing now. And it's true. And, my first year I did do 3.5 million, which was awesome, but I don't know. It's just not easy. I think, I was under the expectation. I think so many people today, especially coming off this market, get their license and they're ready to go out and just put people in their cars and go show property, and they think they're going to have contracts or put a sign in the yard. That's changed. And I think we have to manage expectations. And when people get their real estate license, they have to understand what they're getting into and what they have to put into it. And, I was told you need to have money in the bank. You've got to have 6 to 12 months of income to survive, because you don't want to come from a desperate position when you're working with customers as well. It's about them. It's not about you and what you're going to make. If you serve people well, you will be compensated.
Right.
And put them first. And I know what it's like, because when we all come from, direct deposit, salaries or money in our account every week, and then you go to a commission-based business, it's totally different.
Right. Now you said you left a job, 6 digits. You just cut it. You just cut that. You burned that behind you. Yeah. That's amazing, because we have some people in that position as well. Now let me ask you this: if you had to start all over again today, okay? In other words, if you had the chance to restart your first year, that you not today, but then, what would you have done different, knowing what you know now? Anything different you would have done?
Actually, a couple of things. And in the very beginning, I mean, I think I would do a lot of the things in the beginning the same, but over the course of time, there's things I would have done differently. But one of the things throughout my career, I'm a very loyal person, and I joined the company I joined because a friend of mine I just met her. She became a friend with that realtor, and she's like, "Oh, you should get your real estate license." And then, I just joined her company that she was with. And so many times, and I liked them, they were great and really great to me. And I loved all the people there, but I was approached many, many times. And I know Tom Martin maybe he's still on this call, or he's gotten to his thing, but he was one of those people that called me all the time, and I wouldn't talk to anybody. Like I'm happy. And now looking back and knowing what I know, I really wish I would have taken some of those calls, even just for understanding and education, because I didn't even understand how other brokerages worked. I was just at an independent. So that's one thing that I wish I would have done in the past. But I'm happy where I am today.
Okay. Let me ask you this: the database, because one of the greatest failures of most people that have been in business for quite a while, is they didn't get started on a database soon enough, and realizing that every name and number is a piece of gold. And
Absolutely.
they neglect it. Well, your first year, did you start your database then, or did it take you a couple years before you got?
No, I did. I mean, I followed the rule of, when you get your license, you make a list of everybody. I don't care if it's somebody who they cut your hair, or they groom your dog, or they cut your lawn, or they're friends of your friends and family, or whatever it is. You make a list of everybody and you just start reaching out to people. And again, don't be that secret agent, and building that database. And my business, because of what I did early on, and like I said, there's a lot of things that if I could go back, I would change over the course of time, because we get busy and things slip away and we don't do the things that we should be doing. But I mean, my database I just turned over to Agent Hub 360. They got it down. They kind of merged and purged everything. They started with 17,000 because I sent them multiple lists, because I kind of got a little disorganized with my CRM, and they pulled it down to I think 7,500 people, and we're still kind of going through that. But I've had a business has been repeat and referral. And even the business I've done the last couple of years, which it hasn't been as strong as it was, is because I quit communicating. My database got messed up. I had somebody help me with it, which they don't know who your people are. And it got messed up. And then it just became this big thing that was just stressing me out. But it was such a big project that I just kept putting it off. And it was the most important thing to my business of all. And I'm now still trying to clean that up. But it's September of 2019 is when that happened. So I have not consistently communicated with my database since then. And my business, my numbers are reflected in that. And for some other reasons too. But that is the biggest thing, because our database is what we have. That's your business. Those are your customers. Those are your potential deals. And if you get a good, strong database and you build a good touch program with them, and, have a plan where you do customer appreciations and outreach to those people and show them, bring them value and show them that you care, then you will not have to spend a dime on any of these lead sources, or go out chasing people, or putting people, talking to people that aren't qualified. You will just pick up your phone and people will call you. And, that is the best and the greatest business to have.
I'm going to encourage everyone here, start putting your questions in the chat, because when I open it up for questions and answers, I see someone with the hand raised, and I will get to you. And you can raise your hand, and I'm going to call on you first, JB, I promise you. But put your questions in the chat as well, or raise your hand, because you've got a chance. The $150 woman, $150 million woman here. So you get those questions in the chat. Deb, let's switch from the business to personal. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I know you well enough now that we both ride ATVs. We're both authentic, transparent, and vulnerable.
Yeah.
So, with the quote, you're familiar with the quote: work harder on yourself than you do anything else, and everything else will take care of itself. Work harder on yourself than you do your business, and your business will take care of itself. That's Jim Rohn, right? How much has Debbie Weller, I know how much you've spent in the past few months in personal development. How hard do you work on yourself? Here you had the marketing background, you had this, you had that, but over the years, it's going to be a little bit of a wild guess. How much do you think you spent on Debbie Weller's mindset? Remember, this call is all about, my Wednesdays are all about mindset, will set, and skill set. So is that Facebook group, the Mind Body Mastermind. If you're not a member, go to Mind Body Mastermind Facebook, join that group. How much have you spent on that little girl inside that we always talk about?
Over 6 figures.
Yeah. Oh, at least, yeah.
Yeah, over 6 figures for sure. I don't have a total number, but over the years, a lot, because I've done with different coaches. All focused on real estate in the past, and then over the last 2 to 3 years, I've really it's been more on mindset and just personal and business growth, professional growth as well. A lot of shifts in the last few years.
Yep. And do you find the harder you work on yourself, the better your business gets?
Not yet.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm saying
not yet.
Had you not invested that in yourself, right? If you hadn't invested,
back when I was back when I was applying it more to what I was doing with my real estate business, yes, it definitely paid off, and I did see the growth, and the shift now has been more on what is my purpose, right? What am I here for? I'm not here to serve just putting people in homes anymore. I've done that for a long time, and maybe at the expense of my friend's family, and that was my choice and my personal life. So I just realized, and when I turned 50, COVID happened, losing people, seeing people younger passing away, and just realizing, looking back and going, it's not all about selling a bunch of homes and being a top producer and all of those things. That's not what brings joy, right? And that's not what my purpose is here. So I've really done a lot of, a lot of the work has been, spiritual, and I was so pleased to meet you, and you've been a big factor in a lot of it. And I'm still on that course and that journey, trying to figure it all out. But so and I think we do, it's constant, like you said, it never ends. We're constantly, because there's all kinds of things that come at us, and we can be riding on a big high and something happens, and we've just got to keep working on ourselves.
It's the video clip I just played from Mind Body Mind, the Facebook Mind Body. Yeah. It's all about the clouds, right? And we always see the dark clouds. All we see. We don't see that light, right? And keep that faith. But had you not invested, because that's the story of my life, had I not invested, right, the kind of money I invested in myself over the years, I would have never probably survived to this point in my life, just because of my background and my because that kept bringing me to a higher and higher call every year. And
Yeah.
that's been the story of my life. And I mean, through the worst and the best and the ugliest and the most beautiful and wow, the last year has been unbelievable for me. And then it's so that investment in yourself, you didn't realize is what brought you to that point where you're saying, finally, hey, there's even bigger than what I've had so far. And that's not bigger in stuff and toys and all the other stuff. It's also in that answering that inner voice that we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, I had the privilege of it, of coaching you. Tom Martin is on you, and you've had these different coaches, which is smart because you get something different each time, right? And it takes you a different level in each direction. So that it's been phenomenal to work with you and to watch you in that, to go to your graduation of the real courses.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. And tell them a little bit about the real course, because I've been trying to get more people there. I've had only 3 from the group go. Tell them about your experience with the real course. That's not my course, by the way. That's a course that's in Boca Raton that changed my life back in 2017, that tapped things I never knew I even had inside me. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Tell me.
and my husband went with me, as you know, and here's the thing, that was amazing, and there's a lot more to come from that. It's just, that's just scratches the surface and kind of opens.
Right, should open.
Yeah, and then we have to make time and make those things a priority. And since that was just less than a month ago, I think we were 3 weeks ago, we were there, we've come back and jumped into this, like, just stuff that's pressing and that we really have to address. And like we just talked before this call, we're going to talk to you this weekend because we haven't had a chance to. This will be our first time to like sit down and like kind of regroup and come back to some of that stuff. Because when you go to any course, I don't care what it is, we go to these classes, we learn things, we go to these events, and we go to all these sessions, and we pay money or whatever it is, but we go back to our lives and everything is still there. All the chaos, all the schedule, all the things we have to do. And we were so pumped up and so excited, and we had all these big plans, and then we go and it all just kind of gets set aside, and I'll get to that later. And I'm super guilty of this, and we'll get to it later. And then maybe you never do. And then the next thing comes and you go to that. So I just encourage, and one of the things I've been trying to do is when we go to those, like, pick one action item. I don't care, just the smallest thing, because, Darren Hardy, I love Darren Hardy with the compound effect. And I think there's a quote that Tony Robbins, but we overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 5. But if we just take something little and we can do that every single day, and then once we have that down, we can switch and add something else to it, where we're going to be, 6 months, a year from now.
And by the way, mark that name down, Darren Hardy. If you don't follow Darren Hardy, that's a big mistake. And he just gives also. He's a great guy. I just love Darren Hardy. But Deb, with you and your husband, okay, you both live very busy lives. He's a builder, right? A contractor. Yeah, he's contractor, right?
Yeah, he's been in construction his whole life. And then when the market, we met back in, I don't know, 2008, I guess. And he was in construction, and then the market went down. And so the builder he was working for, they filed Chapter 11. He ended up getting his real estate license and working with me for a while. And then he just got back into construction. He still has his real estate license, and he just got back into construction in the fall, and he's flipping some homes and helping a lot of people that flooded. Here in our area, we had a lot of homes that flooded, and people were their lives were devastated. So he's been doing a lot of renovations there too. So, yeah. But we've struggled, trying to work together. Oh my gosh. Like, type A personalities. But everyone wants to be boss. It was hard.
Well, you've been through it. You've been married how long?
We got married on 11/11/11. So it'll be what, 12 years this year.
12 years. And one of the greatest stressors in life sometimes is our relationship. One of the greatest blessings in our lives is a relationship. During the graduation, Aaron, right? No.
Yeah.
Aaron walked up to me and he said, I got to thank you, because you and I spent a month together, but he and I never met, right? Mm-hmm. You took my 1-month program. He walked up and he said, I want to tell you something. He said, this course, I think, has salvaged our marriage. What did he mean by that?
Well,
Was that much on the rocks because of your
oh,
busyness?
absolutely. Absolutely. And what I liked about that, I mean, it was interesting because I'd never been around, I don't know how many people were in there. There were maybe like,
20. The students were 20, but the angels, the people who come back.
was another like 30 or 40 of
Oh
them.
yeah, at least, yeah.
But, and it's great. We have the chance to go back and we plan to go back. It's as angels, right? So they say you get a lot more out of it, or you get more out of it again by
Oh,
going back and because you're in a different perspective. But as a student, but the fellow students, like to just hear people's stories, and it's a place where you can be completely open, honest, vulnerable, and just share anything, and you're in a very safe place. And it was interesting because when you go around and everybody speaks, and then Aaron would speak and then I would speak, and then it kind of turned about our relationship, and it kind of took a little bit more of the conversation over, and I was feeling guilty. Like, we're not here for marriage counseling, right? Everybody's here to work on themselves individually. But what was so awesome about that is, do you know how many people came up to both of us individually and said, you don't know how much that meant, and that's my relationship. That's what, and that made me feel so good, because it makes you realize that you're not the only one. And I think people don't talk about, everyone tries to show this perfect life on their social media.
Thank
and,
you.
all this stuff. And I've really, and social media is powerful. And I know Jessica, I missed her awesome class yesterday, I guess. And I got to meet Jessica in September last couple years ago, and still remember her. She's very impressionable and a great person. But, social media is just, you turn it on and you see all this stuff, and I don't know. So I've stayed off and just trying to regroup on some things.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, folks, is that one of the things that when I work with people, the first thing I go, wait a minute, do you have a bird at your house, Debbie? Or is that somebody
Yes,
else?
that's
Oh,
my
it's a bird.
Congo. So we have two boxers, and then we have this Congo African gray, and I've got a door shut, but he's his newest thing is he says love you, and he's
cool.
great all constantly though. He goes,
I love it.
love you.
To get back to the course, is that when Aaron walked up, remember when we met, right? He just was he said, I think you're salvage marriage. You will remember what I said to him. And what was so great about that course, before the course, he probably would have been much more defensive. But when I said, Aaron, you don't salvage marriages, you only salvage cars. You celebrate marriage. And he just looked at me, and he was so deep, right? And that he said, thank you so much for that. So didn't it change him a lot? I mean, he just, as far as just thinking, because
yeah, it was. And the thing is like, like you say, you get back home and you have all these habits and not so good habits and ways you talk to people and things that you do. And, I pick at him and he gets frustrated and, all those things. But what was so good is that we saw each other's hearts, and we also were able to, as they look at your, the little girl and the little boy inside, like why we have some of the beliefs we have and how we grew up, and, those things that hold us back. But when we saw that in each other, that the compassion, and we have to, like I said, we just have to remember to keep going back to that. And that's, what we need to do.
There's nothing more beautiful when I see couples go through that and they finally don't see you, the adult. They see that little girl that you were, you see the little boy he was. And that's what happened. I mean, I'm back after, all these years. Some of you know my personal story. It's an interesting one. But Debbie, one of the things I was ready to say is that, and everyone on this call, no matter what you're going through, no matter how you're going through it, no matter what, you're not the exception. You're not the exception. It's the rule.
Mm-hmm.
If you're human, if your heart is beating right now and you don't have issues in your life, then you're not human. I don't care who you are. You know, I don't care who you are. Even Jacopo, 38 years old, beautiful soul, wealthy and just smart. And he's got a PhD, Dr. Jacopo, international business study. He still's got the clouds. He's still got the problems. So I don't care who you are. These clouds they're not there to darken our lives. They're there to try to even get and look for light. That's what they're there for. And Debbie, that's what you've been doing so beautifully. The month we got to work together, and we're still doing some work together, and then watching you at that course or the graduation, I wasn't able to make that course, but I just thank you, because you're just a role model to women to keep going, keep plugging, keep moving. You're juggling all these different things in your business. Now, the beautiful thing is you are not satisfied with yourself, right? And you're saying there's more in there. And now what are you doing today after this call?
I start my success coaching certification today. I'm super,
Yay.
super excited. I've been wanting to do it for a year now.
Get it, girl.
So, so I'm super excited.
That is the success coaching is from success that we're very fortunate, as everyone on this, if you're with EXP, you're a stockholder in Success, the organization that Napoleon Hill ran 117 years ago, whatever it was. But anyway, that's really great, Debbie. It's unbelievable that you keep going and going and going and going, and you just plug through it, you plow through it, despite any clouds. And I'm just looking forward to working with you and Aaron together this weekend. So anyone, okay, who had their hand up? I apologize. I usually have a question answer. Did you have to leave? Someone had their hand up, but let's look at the chat. Any questions? You can pop, I was going to call on the person with their hand up. Where did they go? Did they have to leave? Okay, pop your mic open if you have a question. Tom Martin, there's another one of your coaches.
So I have the opportunity to meet with Debbie once a week, and guys, I've known Debbie for a while from the outs, looking from, as a competitor of Deb. I don't look at her as a competitor because she was way better than me, but the one person that I have one of the utmost respects for her professionalism and her heart is Debbie Weller. And by the way, yes, I called her. And then I said, well, let me try and call Aaron. Then if I'm not getting through to her, maybe I can go the other way. But that didn't work either. So I'm grateful for the relationship we're building together. And I want to say something, because when you invest in yourself and work on yourself, the results aren't instant. It's a lagging effect, right? So everything you do for yourself today, such as fitness, you go to the gym one day, it's not going to happen. You go for 6 months straight, you see massive results. So keep working on
fitness, Tom. Hey, Tom, who are you to speak on fitness?
I only learned it from you, Fred. I only learned it from you. And I'll be 54. I'll be 54 next month. And people will say to me all the time, how do you do this? And how do you do that? I said, well, I don't do what you do.
Hey, Tom, Tom, to flex your muscle. Come on, we got to see it. Come on, pull that muscle. Come on, man. Come on. I'm not.
So anyways, Debbie, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your heart. And it's quite an honor to know you and be friends with you and Aaron. But our development is a lagging effect. We won't see the results today, but we will see the results tomorrow. So Fred, thank you for having her. I'm a little frustrated that I didn't ask her to come on the call first before you, but I'm grateful that she's here. So
thank you. I appreciate everything you do for me.
Yeah, we met, you noticed that Debbie has multiple coaches, but we met at an event. So she said, you said I only need 30 days and you could fix me. Is that what you said? You called me, I think.
I think so.
Something like
but
that.
I don't know, when you spoke, I just felt like, and I thought about you a lot, and it took me a month to reach out to you, and then we jumped right into it. And I'm so grateful.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been really a lot of fun. So anyway, any question? Okay, Alice from Ohio.
Yes. So I'm a little embarrassed, but in all honesty, I'm here to check out Fred and his coaching program, not on personal level. Check out coaching program. And it's really easy for me to find all sorts of groups where I sit with a bunch of people who are doing not as well as I am, and to hear all the things that aren't going well. So I just would like to hear like, how are some of y'all doing with your sales? I'm doing okay. I'm like 65% towards capped in my second quarter with the XP, which in our market, the price ranges here are not real high, but so I would just like welcome knowing that some of you are doing a whole lot better than me, because that's who I want to be with.
Well, you're among a great crowd here. There's people that are, you know, you keep coming to these calls, Alice. You'll get them. We can't do that now, but you'll get them. And Debbie's a good example to you. And it, you know, once she gets her success certification, she's going to start doing some coaching too. And don't you know, there's people I had coaches that I kept for years, right? And then I would have a coach for business coaching, because you know they're all different, right? It's you got to figure out what area of your life you're looking for a coach in, and you know that's the key is that you interview somebody, you know, Tom Martin, you know, and say, hey, what can you do, and what area are you working, and then say, hey, does that fit what I need to do, right? But and then YouTube, you've got to have YouTube Premium. That's your greatest coach in the world. YouTube Premium. I live on it. I hate TV. You know, my significant other would tell you, you know, it's like, if I have to sit and watch TV for 30 minutes, I hate it. Give me YouTube Premium though. I'm on it, right? So, but I'm glad you're here. Keep tuning in, and you're going to get that. Okay, let's see what else. Anybody else? Jacopo. Jacopo.
Hello, good morning, Super Fred. First of all, I want to tell you something. You don't respond at 4:30 in the morning on my text. I don't understand why. Maybe you wake up too late. Eh? Debbie, super, super nice to meet you, you know, through over here. Nothing. I want to tell you something, Debbie. First of all, I want to understand which is your, you know, how your strategy to continue to keep going from the mindset, and in the business, which kind of step you do to arrive at your, you know, your success in business, you know.
I'm trying to think of the first one. What inspires me to keep going? I just think, just like Fred said, I have YouTube Premium, and I just continually put myself around other people, like-minded people. And I listen to a lot of different podcasts and shows, but joining in on these calls, these groups, just showing up to things and being around other people that inspire, that have the same mindsets and are entrepreneurial based and also faith-based and want to help other people, right? Because that's what we're here for. We're here to help others. And if we put ourselves in a position and we come from the mindset of helping others, we're, like I said before, we're going to be fine. As far as business, my business is shifting, but it's just relationships has always been the thing for me, is having great, you know, really just paying attention to those relationships with all of your sphere, past clients, but also the other realtors, because having, you know, when we're trying to present a deal or we're trying to negotiate, because we're always going to have things come up in deals. If we have like, and I'm very, you know, grateful for Tom and the reputation that I've worked hard to establish, is that when I'm putting a contract on a property and presenting something to an agent, I want them to know that I'm going to work hard. I'm going to be responsive. We're going to be fair. Let's make this work for everybody, right? In everybody's best interest. And I think if we just come from, and like Fred says it, like come from love, like just come from love, everything will be okay. But, you know, that's it. And we just have to, and one of the things I'm working on now, it's just being, you know, trying to create, working to have more structure in our lives and time blocking and putting those higher priority items, giving them attention, because we can get caught up in so much of busy work, right? And if we're being reactive instead of being proactive, you know, we're going to have a lot less success.
I'm so glad you used that word. Folks, please go to YouTube and study proactive versus reactive. That in and of itself, I had a manager once of a hotel I had, And that alone, I said, I want you to, and I picked out all the YouTube videos. I sent it to him. I said, I want you and your wife. It was a couple running it for me. I said, I want you and your wife to go through this because they were the most reactive person. And when we had 80 guests, right, at this hotel all the time. And they were so reactive. Their whole life was reactive. The entire life they spent together. And that alone, going through YouTube, reactive versus proactive. That's a study in of itself. Michael, I'm gonna get to you just in a second. By the way, I put Darren Hardy's link in there. Someone asked about that. Someone, I love this one. What's a good opening line for Property Boost lead? They have only clicked on my listing. I feel like a stalker when I call. Who is that? Where's Pam Harvey? Pam, you're not a stalker. That's a mindset thing. They need to hear from you. They want to hear from you. Do you just call them? And by the way, don't ever say, hey, you clicked on Property Boost or you clicked on it. Just say, hey, I've got someone had mentioned, this is the way I like calling them. Hey, someone had mentioned that you were looking for some real estate services. How may I help you? There was one property in particular. I think someone told me you're looking for some real estate service. Make it a little bit softer for you, but don't feel that way. You're not a stalker. Trust me. Michael, go ahead. Mike.
Thank you. Good morning, Fred. Good morning, Fred. And Debbie is absolutely incredibly impressive. You bring on some really great guests, but honestly, I wanted to mention something to Alice from Ohio. Right. So she said she was on the call this morning to check you out. And I know that was on a professional basis. No, that was a professional basis. But I want to tell her, okay, I'm sitting in your office right now, right, Fred? So
yeah,
Alice, they call him the Godfather. I hear him talking. He's in the other room. I hear him talking all morning, all day. When he's here in the office, he does not stop on his calls. And it is so impressive just to sit and listen through the walls. But I wanted to tell Alice about the time, Fred, you and I were sitting in a room. And we heard someone walking down the hall, and in the door comes Fred's best friend, Fred's absolute best friend. His eyes lit up. He smiled. He said, "Oh my God, how are you?" You don't remember this, do you, Fred? He sat there telling this woman how great he gets up and he looks at her name badge and he says, "Oh, what's your name?" "Gina." He didn't even know this woman. I literally sat there in between the two of them in this incredible relationship that didn't even exist until he stood up, went over and read. It was Gina from the home inspection company.
Yeah.
Fred. So Alice, this is just an example of Fred's.
Well, yeah, thank you, Mike, for that. I appreciate it. But listen, guys, you all are filled with love. The call about how do I approach with someone, if you don't approach them in love, we're here to love people, and that's all we're here for. We came from love. We're going back to love. I don't care what your fathers, mothers, teachers, preachers taught you. You came from love. You're going back to love. Just sum it up in that. And we're here to give love to everybody. And when you approach that call that you just asked about, how do I call these people? I feel like a stalker. Well, you feel like a stalker if you're trying to rape them. You feel like a stalker if you're trying to rob them of something, but you're calling to give. So just be genuine, be authentic, be transparent, and be vulnerable when you call. And just say, you can even start out this way. Hey, I hate calling people. I feel like a stalker. And I want you to know I'm not a stalker. I love people and I would love to help you. I mean, is that genuine or what? Of course it is. That's what, and all of us have got it. We don't know how to practice it, right? We don't know how to practice it. Anyone else? Let's just see. Any other questions or hands raised? Let me see. I'm paying a girl to help me integrate my social media. Facebook, any suggestions on what I should focus on? Well, you got Pam, try to go get if you're a guest, you may not be able to get the replay. No, it's on YouTube. Tiff, if you want to put the link to the YouTube channel that Pam Harvey could watch Jessica's broadcast from yesterday, she'll answer every one of your questions. Any advice on a good VA? That's from iPhone. So iPhone, I don't know how to get you. I don't know where to get you. There's all kind of stuff. Who is iPhone? Speak up. Who's iPhone? Okay. iPhone. I don't know where to get you. I could hit respond, but I don't have to. If you want to text me, I'll send you a couple. But listen, there's another question. Google, and I love my assistants from the Philippines. I use them from all over, but I've always had the best of luck with any. So in my opinion, any VA that you use, I just have a lot better luck. Now, other people might be on the call that have like John Whelan. He uses someone somewhere else and somewhere else. So just Google it and ask around. But on Workplace, if you're with EXP Workplace, there's 88,000 agents in there. They're always talking about virtual assistants. You'll find plenty of posts there.
I can share something too.
Yeah. You're going to put it in the chat.
Like Sphere Rocket is one that I went through. I mean, there's a upfront fee, but I've got an amazing assistant and they turn them over to you. And then GoGo has a company now that does virtual assistants. And then I'm going to post the link to another one that you can do that's less expensive.
Yep.
I think this is it here. I'll find it.
Yeah. And then and then the same way you make sure you hire slow, fire fast. I'm sorry to say that. Hire slow, fire fast. That's the number one key. That's some of okay. That's the key. But virtual assistant, there's all kind. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a good one. I've been there. Online jobs in the Philippines. That's where you can hire them yourself if you like. There's services. There's all kind of things. There's the big agent in California. His wife owns one. There's all kinds of them out there. Okay. Anybody else? Any questions? We're going to wrap up here soon. You got a chance. Okay, Chris Mears. Hey, Chris.
Hey, how are you guys doing? It's been a while since I've been on these. Sorry. My biggest question is, how are you guys experiencing the interest rate hike? How is it affecting your areas?
Let me just say this, if I may address that for time's sake. Chris, one of the things with interest rates, I've had the privilege of selling in an interest rate market. It peaked at 19.5%. Peaked at 19.5%. Did it affect the market? Overall, yes. I got more business during that market because I didn't stop knocking on doors and making my calls and getting back up when I've had all my falls, right? And that's the key. Right. That's your motto as a real estate agent. Knocking on doors and making your calls and getting back up when you've had all your falls. Okay. So with the interest rate, they are what they are. You're never going to change them. You sell with them, not against them. Right. Okay. And then you make sure you have a really good mortgage partner that can help you do analysis for people. Hey, if you wait, So, interest rates are what they are. So great question. I'm glad you brought it up because many people think that. And remember, business is not good or bad out there. It's good or bad in here. It's like I've always gained so much more in bad markets. And I've only sold my first 3 years I sold. And then after I resigned a corporate position in 1997, I sold for 3 years only. So I've only got about 6 years in sales, but 35 million my first year back in sales after leaving my corporate position, 1997 wasn't shabby. I led the entire Kai's company who had 2,000 agents. Right. And so and again, it wasn't, again, I'm not so good. It's that I have practice and I just didn't stop. You just go out there. Right. Anybody else? Last question. That was a great question. I'm glad you brought that up because there's a lot of people on this call thinking that way. So, all right, Debbie, listen, thank you for being you. And, when you get that success coaching certification, folks, write her name down. She's going to be doing some coaching herself. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking this time with us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you very, very much.
It. Okay, cool. And then I'll see you this weekend. Okay. Anybody else? No. Okay. I think we're going to turn it over to Miss Tiffany. By the way, did you get the YouTube channel put in there, Tiff?
I'm getting it right now. I have other